So, I do a yearly video where I process something I'm going through as I'm going through it by documenting it on video and reminding myself of things that I want to hear myself, like things that I want to hear from someone else, possibly, or just myself, and be reminded of the fact that those are traits that exist within me and that I deserve to be loved in some way. This is one of those videos, except slightly different, because what I am going through right now is something that I've been processing for a while. So I'm not recording as soon as I'm feeling it, as soon as I'm going through it. And that makes it so I'm less articulate and I am more objective about where I am, because I'm in the middle of processing it. But these are all things that I want to hear from myself and things that I want to tell myself and remind myself. This is a video for me, but then if anybody's listening, hello, I hope this isn't boring, and if it is, it's fine. It's for me to check back on. Now, to begin with, the previous videos that I had were reminders of how I deserve to be loved and how I deserve to be respected. And I watched those videos back and I realized that the past versions of myself had something that the current version of me lost. The past versions of myself worked really hard to gain those perspectives on themselves. And I destroyed it as of late. I could really dive into what specifically destroyed it or what played a really big hand in destroying it, because there was a situation and people that I loved and surrounded myself with who did not treat me in the ways I deserve to be treated. And it was very reminiscent of my upbringing and how I had to make people believe that they should love me, how I had to fight to get people to understand that I am worth loving by giving everything that I have and receiving not the same amount in return. But right now, through counseling and other measures, I'm sort of coming to terms with the fact that it's not personal sometimes. What a person can provide you and what a person can give you is just sort of like a reflection of where they are currently in their lives and how much they are capable, their capacity. And sometimes people don't share the same amount of capacity that you do. And while I understand that, it also did manage to damage me in ways that I am finding it very hard to cope with. It is going to take a lot to bring myself back up in those ways. One of those areas is the amount of reliance I have on myself. So maybe the point of this video is to remind myself that I can rely on myself, that I am reliable. And apparently, this is something that I struggle with in a lot more areas of my life, where I don't believe entirely that I am reliable, that I am someone I can depend upon, or someone my friends and family and the people that I love can depend upon. And that needs to change. But the truth of the matter is, when I find someone, especially romantically, when I find someone to love, I depend on them. And then the more I depend on them, the less I depend on myself. And that gets unhealthy to the point where I sort of base my value, base my objective value actually on how much they love me and how long they're there for me. And neither of those things are good for anyone. myself or my partner. And I get that. And I sort of understand why I do it. So I'm kind to myself in understanding where I'm coming from, but also I need to work on it because it really makes me feel so worthless when people can abandon me so easy, because it just validates the innermost insecurity that I share about just being unlovable and being not enough and not being someone to rely on. And I wouldn't have tried to realistically work on this if the situation hadn't placed itself upon me, if I wasn't forced by the universe into just being abandoned all of a sudden. I would not learn, or would not, I think, try to remind myself or to drill into myself how reliable I actually am. I can depend on myself. I can count on myself to be there and to know what's best for me, or at least try to do what is good for me in the moment. That I'm capable of doing such things I didn't know. And growing up in an environment where most of the choices that I made were questioned, to the point where I asked for permission for every minute area of my life, to the point where like even tying my hair up was something that I didn't decide for myself. And growing up in that kind of sphere where like leaving your hair open could be like a wrong decision that's spoken about and like argued about for a long time and could lead to something bigger. Like every minute thing had an impact that's not on like equal, not an equal. It shouldn't have had the kind of impact that it did. And because of that, the anxiety surrounding making minute decisions or big decisions really just stuck, and it made me feel like I couldn't depend on myself to do anything for myself. I couldn't depend on myself to be there physically, to like take myself places, to do things for myself, to be there for myself, to admire and cherish myself. And those are all things that I am now learning to do. Those are all things that I am teaching myself to do actively. I am choosing every day to beg for myself in the same ways that I begged other people to love me. And I'm not sure where that will get me, but I'm trying. Everything that I've told someone else, everything that I wish someone else would tell me, I am telling myself. I am working so hard to remind myself that it that I can depend on myself, that I am there for myself. If I fall, I can pick myself back up and brush it off. And when I'm crying, that I can hold my own hand and I can be there for myself. It's not that I don't have like a phenomenal support system, I really do. But there is a part of me that cherishes romantic love over platonic love. And I think that part of me really takes for granted how difficult it is to find love at all. And I have platonic love, and I have a beautiful understanding of how friendship is strong, and it helps you. It supports you when you're building yourself, and it doesn't just interject and do it. It doesn't do it for you. It just helps support you. And I really am trying to rewire myself into understanding how significant that is, and that romantic love, the kind of placeholder that it is, the kind of place that it holds in my life, in my psyche, is not healthy. And it takes away everything from me. And I don't like the kind of person that I become when I'm in love with someone romantically. And I will change that. because I want the people that I love to be a bonus in my life, to be someone that adds something, not to like take away everything from me. I want to surround myself with people that add companionship and joy and trust within my life, and I don't want to rely on them for any of those things. I want to rely on myself for all of those things, and if somebody else chooses to provide them too, then that is a bonus, and it's not filling the gaping hole that I have because I don't love myself. That cannot continue to persist. So I really am trying. I tell myself everything that I need to hear. I do the things that I want other people to do for me, and hopefully a year from now, or I don't know, but I'll do a check back again next year, and hopefully a year from now the future version of me reaps the benefits of the current version of me that is trying to heal, that is working her hardest to get there. If I die, but then if I am alive and I see the next year and I learn to respect and cherish myself in the ways that I have previously, even like stronger than before, then that's the goal, I think. Because I don't think I've ever actively chosen myself in the way that I'm choosing myself right now, because it's hard, it gets lonely, it gets depressing, and obviously the people that I love I never unlove, so it's hard. But then I actively choose myself, and I actively choose to trust myself in this process, and to know that, there are areas of myself that become so draining to the people around me, myself included, because I am scared to sort of confront them. But right now I have decided to feel my feelings and not rationalize them all the time, to just feel them for a bit in this healing process, and just like unabashedly go through the motion, let it hurt until it doesn't, and then actively choose to reaffirm myself in all of the love languages that I hold. Words of affirmation, acts of service, all of those things I do for myself. I get myself things, I tell myself those cheesy affirmation thingies. It's really hard to do that, honestly, because Lord knows, even in the privacy of my own room, it is cheesy, but I do it. And all of the things I'm providing for myself because I deserve it, and I deserve it from myself more than anyone else. When I treat myself the way that I want to be treated, I won't settle for less. And I wanted to keep a record of myself feeling that way, because I did settle for next to nothing, and I'm never going back there again, ever. And it's not personal. Sometimes people don't have the capacity to give you what you need, and that's fine. I have to accept that. Everybody has to accept that and move on. And I am. And hopefully I will become a better person out of it. And no matter what, I'm grateful for everything that happened to me, minus a few things. But it is leading me to becoming the kind of person that I can be proud of, the kind of person that the previous versions of me can be proud of. My goal is for the 13-year-old version of me to find me super cool, to go, whoa, because Lord knows she was mean. So I'm getting there, and I will get there. And I will check back every year to see how I do.